All right, so this is chapter 4, lesson 8, complex numbers, part 2. So in part 1, we simplified the radical where we had an I, which made complex numbers. Now we're going to add and subtract with the i's. So our goal here is to combine like terms. So we can only add real numbers with real numbers and complex numbers with complex numbers. So we're going to add the real numbers together first. So we get negative 12 plus 4, which is negative 8. And then we add the complex numbers. So we have 10i plus 12, so it will be plus 22i.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4 minutes.
Okay, so now we have our real numbers that we're going to add together, and we have our complex numbers that we need to add together.
No way.
So what is 4 plus negative 1?
3.
3
Plus 14.
plus 14i. And that's our answer.
Really? It's that simple?
That's simple.
Maybe Barrett will get extra points on this one. My diamonds is
Okay, so now we're subtracting. We need to distribute the negative to what's directly behind it. So it's since the parentheses are directly behind this minus sign, we have to distribute it to both things in the parentheses. So we have 7 plus 2i minus 7 plus, when we distribute the negative, it becomes minus 5i. So what are our real numbers here?
7 to 7.
7 and 7 and negative 7. And what's our complex numbers? 2i and negative 5i. So now we can combine the real numbers. So what's 7 minus 7?
0.
0. And what's 2i minus 5i?
Negative 3i.
Negative 3i. So our answer is negative 3i.
No way, man. It's not really good. And then I gotta take that quiz. Can I take that next week?
Yeah. Okay, so what do we do first here?
You would do negative 5 plus I.
The distribution of negative.
We need to distribute the negative to the things on the parentheses that's directly touching it. So we have negative 5 plus I
Plus 7.
plus 7
Plus 3i.
plus 3i. Perfect. What are the real numbers here?
Negative 5 and 7.
Negative 5 and 7. And what are our complex numbers?
I and 3i.
I and 3i. So when we combine the real numbers, we get 2. What do we get when we add I plus 3i?
4i.
4i.
What do you mean 4I?
So 2 plus 4i is our answer. All right, so this is where we're going to stop today, and we're going to do the multiplication tomorrow.
No, man.
With 7 minutes to spare.
Tara, how do we multiply these two?
You got a 4.
We have to FOIL. So remember, when we FOIL, we do first outside, inside, and then last. So what are our first two terms?
4 negative 1.
So what's 4 times negative 1?
Negative 4.
And then we do the outsides. So 4 times negative 2i, which would be
Negative 8i.
negative 8i. And then the insides, negative 3i. And then the last, negative 6i squared. It's squared because we have 2 i's that we're multiplying. So now we need to combine the like terms. So what are the like terms we have here? Negative 8i and negative 3i. So we have negative 4. What's negative 8i minus 3i? Negative 11i. And then we have minus 6i squared. This I squared
Becomes negative.
becomes negative 1. If we go back to the first slide in 4.8, we saw that I squared is equal to negative 1. So we're just going to plug in a negative 1 where we see I squared. So we have negative 4 minus 11I minus 6 times negative 1. What is 6 times negative 1? Positive 6. Yeah, negative 6 times negative 1. It's positive 6. So now do we have like terms that we can add again?
Yes.
What?
6 and 4, negative
Negative 4 and 6. So what's negative 4 plus 6?
2.
2. So we have 2 minus 11I as our final answer. So our step 1 is to FOIL. Then our step 2 is to change the I squared to negative 1, and then just combine like terms.
You should have tested next week, Thursday.
Our test is going to be next Thursday, yes.
Are we learning anything new?
Nope, this is the last new thing we're learning.
So we're gonna have it.
How many lessons are gonna be?
Let's go to the next example. What do we do here? We're multiplying. How do we multiply this? But what are we multiplying? 3I times what? Just the negative 5? And the 2I. So we have to distribute the 3I to the negative 5 and to the 2I. So what's 3I times negative 5?
Negative 15
Negative 15 what?
I.
I. Can't forget about the I.
plus 6I.
So then we do plus 6
I squared.
I squared. Because we have an I here times an I.
Oh, it's like
So do we have any I squareds that we need to change?
we need to make it a negative.
We make it a negative 1. So we have negative 15I plus 6 times negative 1. So we're changing this I squared to negative 1. So what is 6 times negative 1?
Negative 6 and negative 15.
Right, so we can just change this to negative 6 minus 15I. Just so we keep the number first.
Negative 15 minus.
Wait, what's gonna be wrong?
No. When you're writing it, the number comes first, but I wouldn't mark it wrong if you left it like this. But if there was a question like this on the SAT, the answer will be in this form.
You did that one.
All right, 2 more, guys. So now we have 9 plus 4I squared. So we do it twice. So it's the same thing as saying 9 plus 4I times 9 plus 4I. So now that we have 2 parentheses, what do we need to do?
We need to FOIL.
FOIL. So we do the first terms. 9 times 9 is 81. Then we do the outsides. 9 times 4I is
36 I.
36I. Now we do the insides. So plus 36I. And then we do the last ones.
16 I squared.
So plus 16I squared. What do we do next?
Like terms.
Combine like terms. What are the like terms we're combining?
36I.
36I and 36I. So we have 81 plus, what's 36I plus 36I?
72.
72I plus 16. What can we change this to?
Negative 1.
Times negative 1. So what's 16 times negative 1?
Negative 16. So 81 plus 72I.
Minus 16.
Negative 81 minus 16.
So now we just subtract the 81 and the 16.
Wait, 65 plus 72I. Yeah, baby.
65 plus 72i. So in your answer, you'll never have an I squared because that wouldn't be simplest form. We need to change the I squared into -1. So your answer is only going to be real numbers and a complex number. All right, ready for the next one? Last one, yay. What do we do first? FOIL. What are we multiplying first?
4 and 3, 4 and 3.
So 4 times 3 is 12. Then we do the outsides. And we get plus 16i. And we do the insides. What's 2i times 3? 6i. And then we do the last ones. So what's 2i times 4i? 8i squared. What do we do next?
Now you combine like terms, which is 16.
So we combine the 16i and the 6i, and we get
22I.
22i. Plus 8. What do we change this I squared to? -1. So 8 times -1. What is 8 times -1? -8. So we have 12 plus 22i minus 8.
4 plus 22I.
So we just combine the like terms again, and we get 4 plus 22i.